here we're going to multiply complex numbers. So I is the square root of -1. If I were to square both sides, when you square a square root, the square root just goes away, leaving behind what was on the inside. So I squared is equal to -1. And that's a very important fact to remember when you're multiplying complex numbers. Matter of fact, it's essential that you know that. So as our first example, we're going to distribute 5i times 2 plus 6i. Remember, they generally like for I to be written in the back. And when I distribute 5i times 2, treat I as a variable, that's 10i. 5i times 6i, 5 times 6 is 30, and I times I is I squared. So here we encounter this I squared, and you never want to leave an I squared. You always want to change that to -1. Okay, so I just took that I squared, I wrote it as -1. All right, well, what is 30 times -1? So think about 30 times -1. That's going to be -30. Okay. And we'll hit these lights real quick. The glare off of there. All right, so now we can reverse it and say -30 plus 10i. And this last step is not absolutely essential, but is very much preferred. When we write a complex number, we like the I in the back. Many people will bypass this step. They'll have be proactive and say, well, since I squared is -1, I know what's going to happen. Just simply the sign will change. But remember, the I squared will go away completely. A very common mistake is for people to know that the sign will change, but leave behind an I. They'll write an I there, and that's not correct. Okay, the I should not be there at all. So this is correct, -30 plus 10i. Let me show you one now where you're going to FOIL. So 6 minus 2i times 4 plus 7i. Okay. Well, you got to multiply 4 times here. 6 times 4, that's 24. 6 times 7i, that's 42i. -2i times 4, that's -8i. -2i times 7i, that's -14i squared. Okay, so notice I multiplied all 4 times, treating I as a variable. So if you understand how to multiply two binomials, then this should make sense to you. It just seems a little backwards with the variables going down towards the right-hand side instead of the left-hand side. There are two things we can do here. And one thing would be to combine 42 minus 8, that's 34. I squared changes to -1. Okay, remember, you could bypass that step and just go ahead and write plus 14. That's fine. We'll do it here. Okay, because -14 times -1 is positive 14. 24 plus 14 are like terms, so I'll add those to get 34. To get 38. 38 plus 34i is correct. Okay, so just remember, I squared changes to -1. And otherwise, you're treating I like a variable. Multiplying complex numbers.